Truth Seeker, welcome back. This morning, CNN has one of the most twisted headlines I've ever seen about the hurricane that's heading for the East Coast and set to damage the Carolinas. If you missed the video I put out on Hurricane Florence on September 5th, please go back and watch that. If you have not read my book, Letters and Numbers, one of the later chapters is on weather warfare. And in that chapter, I show how storms are contrived by a code that are meant to cause major damage. This is all part of a giant banker scheme of destroy and then rebuild. And then they profit because they provide the lending that they make the interest off of. And in that chapter, I show how throughout the years, they've even synced up storms with sports games, including boxing matches. And I use the example of the Floyd Mayweather fight last year at the time of the Harvey flooding, how the announcer was using terminology of Floyd Mayweather causing a flood of punches. He's drowning him out there. Talk about that. We talk about the movie The Hurricane, based on the boxer Rubin Carter. All of this is in the book that I released earlier this year in March. Be right about that. Neighbor was at the door. Anyhow, in light of all that, I want you to see this morning's headline. It's September 12th, 2018. Just days away from this hurricane impacting the East Coast. And CNN's headline is this: Hurricane Florence's Mike Tyson punch is shaping up to deliver disaster for days to the Carolina coast. And, I mean, why phrase anything like that? But here I am, writing a book showing how, over the years, sports, boxing matches connected to intentional hurricanes. In that same chapter, I talk about how the number 52 is always stamped on this weather warfare. And it goes back to 1952, when the first world's military admitted that they were causing weather warfare. That was the UK's military, their Air Force. They admitted that they were doing chemistry in the skies to induce flash flooding and cause severe weather. That was over a half a century ago. Mike Tyson happens to be 52 years old right now, and just watch all this. It's so sick. It's everything that I wrote about in the chapter on weather warfare. So first of all, this storm's supposed to hit North Carolina, which we talked about on September 5th. Please see the video I put out then. Notice how they emphasize Mike Tyson punch. Mike Tyson punch sums to 67 in the most important of the four base ciphers, just like North Carolina. And this article is about how it's going to deliver a Mike Tyson punch to North Carolina. It gets worse. Don't forget that this storm developed August 31st, 2018. It's been moving through the Atlantic since August 31st. We talked about last week how that was a date with 77 numerology. North Carolina also sums to 77 in the base cipher. In case you're new here, there's four base ciphers, alphabetic order forwards and backwards. This is when you turn the alphabetic order around. Both relevant. Yesterday, September 11th, there was a lot of news about this hurricane. Story about how Maria killed as many people as 9/11. I just want you to see that this is coming in the same week as September 11th. For September 11th, 77 was the number. And the most clear example was what happened at the Pentagon. The Pentagon construction began September 11th, 1941. 60 years to the day of the attack. Meaning yesterday it turned 77 years old. But on 9/11, Flight 77 hit the Pentagon after taking off at 8:20 and crashing at 9:37, 77 minutes later. Flight 77, 77 minutes later. The Pentagon's 77 feet tall. The Pentagon's on the 77th meridian, which runs through D.C. That's a lot of 77, and then you learn Gematria and see that September 11th equals 77. A lot of people say a missile hit the Pentagon. If you write out the word missile and just use the alphabetic order, M's 13, I's 9, S's 19, S's 19, I's 9, L's 12, E's 5, missile equals 77. The nation's War Department. So anyway, back to this hurricane. I've been educating for years about weather warfare in 52. Mike Tyson, who's used in this headline, is 52 years old, and it gets worse. Just real quick, hurricane equals 52, alphabetic order, rules of numerology. Flood equals 52, alphabetic order. Weather warfare stamp. By the way, NWO for New World Order equals 52, and this is them. This is a new world order nation, the United States of America. This is the military might of the new world order. That's why presidents, politicians utter the phrase so often. So here's where it gets sick. From June 30th, his birthday, his 52nd birthday, to this headline today, September 12th, is 74 days later. And why does that matter? If you follow my work, you already know. But in case you don't, all of this is in my book. The qualifying wind speed for a hurricane is 74 miles per hour, right? And in Hebrew, the word for hurricane has a numerical value of 74. This code of letters and numbers originally comes from Hebrew. So what are the odds? You know that in Hebrew, hurricane equals 74, qualifying wind speed for the hurricane, this sick headline, 74 days after Mike Tyson's 52nd birthday. This is why I wrote in my book that if you read my book, Letters and Numbers, everything you learn in this book, you will know for the rest of your life, and you'll see how they do the same thing again and again and again, and it is just so sick. Floyd Mayweather, he'll be 52 before long. He'll have a hurricane in his honor. You just watch. You just watch. He already had one last year, but he'll have another one when he's 52. I still remember how the day of the Manny Pacquiao fight, there was a rare earthquake in his hometown in Michigan. That was the biggest fight of his life at the time. The word earth also equals 52. Rare earthquake the day of the fight. Don't forget, the United States of America, for over 50 years, detonated atomic and nuclear weapons in the sky and underground for military testing. Remember last year, the hurricanes, Harvey, Irma, Maria, they were all referred to as nuclear storms. And you know what? With nuclear on the mind, I need to teach you something about Gematria. This is in the book, but just in case you're new here. These are the 4 base ciphers. These are the 4 base ciphers right here. We're going to look at this dark green one. This is the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26, the most simple. Nuclear, 74. Energy, 74. Weapon, 74. Nuclear storms. This headline about the knockout punch for North Carolina 74 days after Mike Tyson's birthday. Don't call it a coincidence. And just in case you are new here, the New World Order is a Masonic world order. This code of letters and numbers, known as Gematria, is Masonic. Masonic 74. It's also a Jewish code, Jewish 74. Gematria is the word 74. English 74. Just in case you're new here, that number might remind you of the nation's birthday. Holiday 74. Independence Day. Alphabetic order and numerology 74. Got it? So, 74 days after Mike Tyson's birthday, the knockout punch coming to North Carolina, we're not done yet. I wish we were. But first, just a little backstory. Hurricane, the movie The Hurricane about the boxer Rubin Carter, wrongfully jailed, dead at age 76. Bob Dylan had a benefit concert in 76 for Rubin Carter. Anyway, The Hurricane, that movie's 2 hours and 26 minutes. That's also 146 minutes. Hurricane in the base ciphers, Gematria of 146. With the alphabetic order, this is with the reverse alphabetic order. When you flip it around, you make Z1 and count up to A is 26. Hurricane's 146. With the regular alphabetic order, Hurricane's 97. And with the reverse alphabetic order, Carter's 97. You know, Rubin Carter, the Hurricane. So, the word flood, this is why they're using boxers for these riddles. The word flood in Hebrew has a gematria value of 26. So does boxer, so does Floyd, as in Floyd Mayweather. Punch 26. Last year when Floyd Mayweather came into the fight against McGregor, where he went 50-0, McGregor equals 50, undefeated equals 50. The fight where he went 50-0, he came into that fight with 26 KOs. The same night that the flood would happen in Houston. The same night the announcer was saying, he's drowning him out there, he's flooding him with punches. You know, same time it was pouring down on Houston, where they reported there were 52 inches of rain. All things covered in the headlines in my book, things I covered in videos last year, channels that have been deleted. But understand this number 26 is the boss number. That's why there's a 26-letter alphabet. This code comes from Kabbalah, having the core belief that God created the world by merging the letter with the number. God equals 26. To these people, they use this code as a game to play God. Game 26. letter 26. You see? You see? For a few more reminders, we covered this September 5th. This was the September 5th video. Been shown over the years how they name all these storms to correspond with the dates. Hurricane Florence equals 95. This was not covered in the news until September 5th, 9/5. That's when it became a threat to the East Coast that day. Hold on. Computer's about to die. Hold on here. One second. Bear with me. How did this even happen? All right. That's more like it. Hurricane Florence, September 5th, 9/5, Hurricane Florence 95. Threat to the East Coast. East Coast 59. Remember there was the storm that hit Japan on this same day, and that storm was named 59. The date of the speculation for this storm when it first happened is they said it could impact the East Coast as soon as September 13th. It's now looking like it's going to be September 14th. That's the new projection, and that's something I forgot to tell you. September 14th, with this whole thing with Mike Tyson. September 14th is now the date. And it looks like I forgot to put it up here. But look, today is 74 days after Mike Tyson's birthday, right? September 14th will be 76 days after his birthday, kind of like how Rubin Carter died at age 76. But you can also count the full span of days. September 14th is 76 days after his birthday. September 14th is also his 77th day of his current age. Mike Tyson, 52. His 77th day will be September 14th, the day this is supposed to hit North Carolina. And let's not forget, North Carolina equals 77. The date this storm formed was a date with 77 numerology. As for it being 76 days after, its reflection is 67. Like Mike Tyson punched, like North Carolina. You see how sick all of this is? Again, you got to read my book, Letters and Numbers. I show how the San Francisco earthquake during the World Series was perfectly synced up with Jose Canseco's birthday. His full name equals 107, like earthquake equals 107. It happened 107 days after his birthday. And if you don't know about the World Series earthquake, it was captured on live TV. They were showing the replay of the World Series game the night prior. The final thing shown on TV before it cut out from the earthquake was Jose Canseco crossing home plate and pumping his fists in the air, and then the shaking started and the broadcast cut out. And it was him, 107 days before his birthday. Full name 107, earthquake 107, military 107. See what they're doing here? They've been doing it for a long time. And they're going to keep doing it until the day they're shut down. And the only way we're going to shut them down is by enough people waking up and acting against them. The way that could look is, you know what? We're cutting off your funds. We're not funding you anymore with our work and our labor and our taxes. We're all not paying taxes this year. We're all going to keep a little bit more of the money we earn this year instead of pay you so you can destroy us with our weather machines. So you can destroy our fellow citizens with our weather machines. Because we paid for it. Understand that. Also, September 5th, 2018, the day this news broke about the hurricane. Guess what? That was a date with 52 numerology. Hurricane, flood, now Mike Tyson, the 52-year-old. September 5th, 2018 was also a date with 25 numerology. Hurricane equals 97, which is the 25th prime. Flood equals 25. No doubt this will bring terrible flooding this storm. You know, seen this before, many times before. Katrina, 52. Hurricane Maria last year, 239, the 52nd prime. Houston flooded last year, August 27th, the 239th day of the year. August 27th, 17, 8 plus 27 plus 17 was a date with 52 numerology. They said 52 inches of rain fell, causing the devastating flooding. Here's the date the storm formed, August 31st. Hurricane Florence. You see? They just did the same thing in Hawaii. They do the same thing year after year after year after year. How twisted is this stuff? This is why everyone needs to know this knowledge. People in my comments start saying, okay, I see it, but now what's the point? The point is to wake other people up, to show them the undeniable truth. How could anyone ever read my book, the chapter on weather warfare, and go, wow, this guy is comparing storms to boxers? You know, I could understand how someone's reading that and be like, what? But then they see this headline today and they're like, wait a minute, let me go back and read. Whoa, these are the exact same numbers he talked about in here. 52, 74, 97. Same exact thing again and again, just like I explained in the book. It's the same thing over and over. It's the most broken record in the history of records. You know? I got a whole lot more posts on everything they've been doing. Like here was the headline September 7th about Hurricane Florence. Major hurricane could threaten East Coast. Why do you think they did that on September 7th? You know? Come on, truth seekers, help me out. We got to get this word out here. You know? Years have gone by that I've been exposing the same thing. How many more years in a row do I got to expose the same thing? I got to be back here in 2019 doing it? 2020, 2021? How many more people got to get, flooded out, windstormed out, dead from these unnecessary storms? How many more people, huh? We have the code, how they operate by. We can expose everything they've done all these years. We can go back through history and prove it. We need a 10 million man march. No more weather warfare. No more murder by numbers. No more rigged sports. Keep your eyes on Mike Tyson too. How long until they off him? I could just see it. He dies the day of the storm. CNN's like, what a coincidence. We just had a headline about him and how he's going to deliver a Mike Tyson punch. Then he dies. I'm not saying Mike Tyson's really going to die, but the point is, you see why they've done this. Letters and numbers, it's linked in the description of every video. 773 pages, $5. And you only got to read 5 pages to get your money's worth. Hell, you only got to read 1 page to get your money's worth. You read all 773, you'll be a Gematria genius. Until next time.